Gerard, just simply, does J.P. Morgan have to apologize for making too much money?
Tom, I don't think so, and thank you for having me on the program. The leadership of Jamie Dimon has been extraordinary for that organization. As you well know, you've seen it as I have over the last 20 plus years, and he's taken it to a level that is very, very profitable. They've organized the company along all the different lines of businesses. It's very well diversified, from consumer lending all the way up to investment banking. But at the same time, they are very disciplined, they're well managed, and they have a very deep bench. So I don't think they need to apologize. The market is what it is, and they're taking advantage of the conditions of today's markets.
Paul, operating income pre-pandemic, $45 billion. It went down. Mm-hmm. And now it's not a double, but it's $72 billion. I mean, I'm sorry, they're putting it on each and every quarter.
You know, hey, Gerard, one of my former employers, what is now Citigroup, I'm seeing that stock finally this year putting some performance like we haven't seen in such a long time. How do you think about it, Jane Fraser, and what's going on at Citi these days?
It's certainly a classic turnaround story, but a very big one. She's turning around an ocean liner, which takes time. And why the stock is doing better this year is that she's showing some initial signs of success. She's been able to divest some of the businesses that have been identified for divestiture outside the United States. But also, she's had a reorganizational plan that she put in place that is focused on lowering operating costs. So this is kind of a self-help story with the operating costs coming down. You know, the big divestiture coming still is Banamex Mexico, the consumer business. Right. That should be separated by the end of the year, and then hopefully will be IPO'd next year. So don't get me wrong. I mean, it is a turnaround story, but it's not in the same class, of course, as a J.P. Morgan or even Bank of America or Wells for that matter.
All right, Gerard. You're in Portland, Maine. How he worked that out, Tom, I have no idea. I mean, he gets to get all the benefits of being a New York top big dog.
He bought Maine. After he had a Hinckley Bermuda.
Okay.
And he got rid of that, and he got some other Hinckley, I can't remember. And now he's got the 40S picnic boat.
Okay.
And he said to RBC Capital Markets, he said, "Look, I'll pop it into Portland. Yep. Everybody come visit."
Yes.
That's what they do.
That's how they do it. Gerard has figured this game out. Gerard, we step back and we look at your bank coverage. Higher rates for longer. How do you position that? How do you kind of put your coverage in a world where maybe rates might be a little bit higher than we initially thought coming into this year?
It is certainly, Paul. I mean, when you think about the forward curve in January, calling for, I think it was around 6 rate cuts, that certainly hasn't played out already. We're down to about 1 to 2 rate cuts. And if we have 1 to 2 rate cuts, and Tom might remember this, back in 1995, that was when Greenspan orchestrated the Goldilocks economy. And he cut rates twice, in July of 95 and December of 95, having raised them as recently as February of 95. And that was a great year for bank stocks. And I think higher for longer with 1 to 2 rate cuts for the regional banks as well as the money center universal banks, we would view very positively, because what's going to happen is funding costs will stabilize, but earning asset yields will continue to rise, widening out the spreads and making the banks more profitable.
What is their relationship now with Washington? We're out of the pandemic. They get bigger and bigger. You know, there's the mid-cap, the small-cap soap opera. But whatever interest rates do, what is the new relationship of our top 5 banks with Washington?
Tom, I think the relationship is steady. There's always conflict, of course. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, that is one of the regulatory agencies that is at odds with the big banks, particularly over more recently credit card fees, lowering them. But in terms of the primary regulators, the Federal Reserve, the controller of the currency, and the FDIC, they work closely with the banks. I wouldn't say it's an adversarial relationship, not at all, but it's not as strong as, for example, up in Canada. When you look at those 5 big banks, including my own, they work very closely with OSFI, the big regulator.
It's like you read my script. Paul, help me here. Are we becoming Canada? It's just as simple as that. That's a timeless question. Cassidy has lived it, and I'm sorry. I mean, that's on a profitability basis.
Yeah.
Particularly with the digital overlay, that's where we're heading.
Yeah, it's interesting. Hey, Gerard, looking at your coverage, I see some of the 2 big investment banks, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, You have them rated sector perform. What's your more cautious view on the investment banks vis-a-vis, say, some of the big money center banks?
What we're looking at, Paul, is is this new surge in investment banking activity for real? Is this sustainable? And if it is, then we need to reconsider those ratings. And that's what we're wrestling with literally as we speak. The first quarter numbers, as you saw, for investment banking, particularly debt capital markets and equity capital markets, were strong year over year. FICC trading was a little weaker, but equity trading was strong. There is the anticipation that if we really are in a soft landing, or the growth of this economy is around 2% this year, M&A will pick up. So it's a real debate we're having internally. Should we start to change?
Small bank, single best idea. Gerard Cassidy, what do you have for me today?
It's not as small as it used to be, but Tom, we got to look at Popular out of Puerto Rico. It is. I got to tell you, Puerto Rico has turned around. All those unfortunate natural disasters have led to enormous amounts of federal aid. The area is growing, and Popular has a 40% market share, and they are very profitable, and they benefit from this higher for longer, better than most banks. And that would be it's not the little community bank that we normally talk about, but I tell you, Popular is the name, Tom.